Einstein once said that you can't solve a problem if you use the same kind of thinking that created the problem in the first place. And that's exactly, fits perfectly within the Six Sigma methodology. And someone mentions Six Sigma to me, the first thing they usually say is that Six Sigma was invented by Motorola, which is a Google company. But it actually evolved over several years rather than actually being invented itself. So no one person actually sat down with the intention of inventing Six Sigma. It actually gradually developed over time. In the early, let's say 1980s, manufacturing companies were struggling with quality issues and processes and how to make them efficient. Bob Galvin, for example, I believe that was the CEO. He set forth tough quality goals, and that's where the idea of Six Sigma really comes into play. So the whole idea is to provide reliable, consistent, and dependable products to your customers. The process is focused on three things: defects, variability, and the customer. And it's important to understand how these two aspects work together. Six Sigma really began within the manufacturing company to reduce the defects during the processes. So it's not something new. So Japanese companies, for example, in Toyota or other manufacturing companies, they've been doing it since the 60s and 70s. Six Sigma drives basically 3.4 defects per million opportunities. I'm going to talk about what that is later on. So these are not activities, but these are opportunities, right? So about, millions of opportunities. And there are millions of other opportunities of making an error. So for example, if you're building a house, you could have a lot of errors during the entire process from start to finish. And to identify those defects and then make your processes better is the key. So you control the variability. All processes have some natural variability, and that's really the goal of attaining zero defects. And that's the quality concept, basically what you need to implement. Six Sigma is based on the belief that if the variation can be reduced, maybe close to the model specification or your goals, there's less chance for defects. In statistical terms, Six Sigma means that the process variations equal half of the design task, allowing the mean to shift about 1.5 standard deviations. In plain terms, that means your manufacturing processes are very efficient. In other words, the chances of errors are less than 1% or less than 5%. So the process, again, naturally drift, right? So they can't be really perfect. You can't have a perfect process, although you can reduce to a minimum level. So we've talked about defects. We've talked about variability. Where does the customer come in? Six Sigma projects have focus on customers as well. They also provide a structure for the project, such as formal training, formal certifications. That's why we have these various levels of Six Sigma: green belt, white belt, yellow, master black belt. So the focus on the customer, we strive to increase process efficiencies. So as such, Six Sigma can be considered as a very important structured environment. So the company's continuous improvement philosophy is the key of driving this. So this Six Sigma has evolved from this statistic-based management for all companies, and a strategy as well. So you build these strategies based on the results and the outcome of these data analysis. So you can apply these techniques, tools, these analyses to make your processes efficient and, of course, deliver a quality product to your customer. Clearly, Six Sigma is designed to guide quality process improvement. So most people today don't work in a Six Sigma environment. The foundation really needs to have a solid program which already exists in one form or the other. Companies have solid quality control processes. And that's really the place to start for you as a project manager or as a Lean specialist or a Six Sigma specialist or a Lean Six Sigma. So if you have, let's say, training or certification in Green Belt, you are pretty much inclined towards making all of these processes efficient within an organization. So I hope this helps. Understanding what Lean and Six Sigma is all about. So with this, let's move to the next lesson, and I'm going to give you some additional tools and techniques in the next lesson.